back in the shop again. We're kind of at a stopping point on the trailer. We got storms coming in, so I'm having to rearrange the shop. But I do have the tail lights on the thing, almost wired up. But I can't really check that until I get it out and hook it to the truck and do that. So what I'm working on today is trying to figure out how I'm gonna do my hitch on the Camaro. So it's not like you can just go out and buy a trailer hitch for a 68. So what I am doing is, drop my little light down here so you can see. When I did my ladder bar coilover setup on the car, I put an extra cross member across here for support for my coilovers and just to tie the chassis back together. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come from the center pinch or the center point of this cross member, come down, follow the bottom of the gas tank, and come straight out here and do my receiver hitch here. Now you're saying, how's that going to work one piece? Well, I'm going to take a little lesson from the old school bumpers, because obviously they work because they pulled cars around on these things. I'm going to take these 4 bolt holes and build a brace across here. This bolts to the body here, bolts to the body here, and on the outside. So when I do that, I'm going to bring either square tubing, round tubing, whatever I want to do, from here down and over to the hitch to support the lateral side to side movement. And it's going to be beefy enough to handle my enormously huge heavy trailer, of course. And it'll look clean. The one support from here under and up with a rubber bushing will be more than enough to handle this trailer. So when you say how I'm attaching it to the frame, well, I went into my off-road buddy's shop and picked up some laser cut tabs. I'll drill this out to a 9/16. I will notch this in to go around the tubing, and I will simply use some 2-inch quarter wall DOM tubing that these leaf spring bushings fit perfectly inside there. So drive a 9/16 shaft through there for the spacer, and weld it to that cross member and bolt it all up. The cool thing about this is eventually that will be a perfect parachute mount if I ever get to that point. But also it's easily removable, and I'm not going to have big bulky stuff hanging out the side of the frame rails like I was kind of figuring on. But this is 1 3/4 DOM roll bar tubing, so it's by far strong enough to handle anything I'm going to do with this little trailer, because it will never have anything bigger than this on it. Maybe my little John boat, but you know, that might be fun. So anyway, got some tubing laid out here. I'm going to cut some stuff up, either drag the bender out from over here or just run an arrows to it and bend it, since we're only going to do about a 4-foot piece of tubing. And so let's get started. All right, so we got our 4-foot piece of roll bar tubing. I'm going to measure down about 12 inches to where I want my radius to start, and I probably have to go to I don't know, 120 degrees. So figure that out in a minute. Okay, instead of breaking out Bentec, I'm going to figure about right there. I need the middle of my radius to be right here. That's how it works. Okay, my 1 3/4 dies are already in the thing, so we're going to line this up. Get everything where it's supposed to be. Not fighting me. Normally we pull this out in the open, but I don't want to drag all this stuff out just to bend one piece of tubing. So we'll make it all fit in here. Let's see how good of a guess I got. Okay, so I went about 5 degrees shorter than I wanted to. That way I can go, you know, it's easier to bend it more than less. So this is what I'm thinking, and I'm actually pretty happy with that. Yep, I like that. Let me give you another angle so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. See if I can get you out here. So from the back, this will put my receiver right here, which will still allow me to drain fuel, get to these fittings, or whatever I need to do. So it's going to come in here, and right up between it like that. I think I'm going to take this right here and maybe bend it up just a tad. But I think I'll get my inside piece mounted and my bushing mounted up here first. And if I want to, I can kick this up a little bit. So, give you a better idea. My receiver hitch here and to here. That might actually work pretty good like that without bending it up anymore. I mean, I could even probably come back to there. So I kind of like that. Just need to cut that much off. Okay, pressed one of my bushings together, and I'm going to show you the idea behind this. We're going to go right there like that. Now I've got to offset this a little bit because the pumpkin, of course, is a little bit off-centered. So it's going to come in here like that. I just need to cut down and notch these pieces right here. So I'm going to set this up in the drill press, cut those out, give it the offset I need, and go from there. Okay, so I got both of the tabs ground or cut out. You can see they're a little bit offset. This one has to be reach a little bit further than this one does so that it's square on the tubing. So I'm gonna cut these off here and here and here, and we'll start fitting that bushing up. So make it all work. All right, so I got my bushings and my tabs ready here. I've got this cleaned up underneath the car. So that looks good. And then I'm going to throw this bracket right here, swivel it up to there. Now it's parallel with the car, the axle, everything else. So I'm going to throw a few spot welds on this and start building the bar, but I'm going to leave it about right there. I probably won't film any of the welding because it's just tight quarters in there and it's going to be hard to see, so I'll show you when I get it done. Okay, so we got this thing welded in, and what I did is I dropped the actual bearing or the bushing out and just put one of the sleeves in. I always add a washer just so it doesn't, just completely close this thing up and make it impossible to get off. But we got that welded up there. I'm gonna give that time to cool off. We'll put the bushing back in it and start notching out the actual tow bar. We've got the bushing back in there, and this is gonna come right up to there. So I just gotta go through, notch this out real quick, and then we can start mocking everything up from here out. All right, this little handy dude is my JD squared beast notcher. So how are we gonna be able to notch this here? Well, the way this thing works is I can set all of these arms up however I need to in this jig to hold that where I need it to notch. First thing I need to do is bring this thing back to 90, which is right there, and slide it out here. Let's see what I need to move around to get this thing up to my 90, which is about right there. So I'm gonna bring this one in here. Go tight. Get stubborn. And I know it's not sunk all the way to the pin, but as soon as I hit it with this drill, it will crank it out. How square are we? Not too bad. Looks pretty good. It's taking a little less than I wanted, but that won't hurt my feelings really. Let me keep tightening this. So just pulling that pin into place. All right, I think that will hold it. I give it the old eyeball here. That's pretty square. All right, let's snip the corner of that out real quick. All right, perfect notch. Clean it off with the flapper wheel, put it on the car. So things got a little exciting here a minute ago and I could not reach my camera, but we have got this tube bent like we wanted. Got it spot welded up there. We've got a finger gap or better all the way across there. We wanted to start bending right here and come up at an angle this way. So that, when I'm ready, this will go in place right here like that, up at a little bit of an angle. And I'm going to make my own hitch, so I'm not worried about this being up at an angle a little bit. It will carry through with some heavy 2-inch outside diameter stock. Build our own hitch, and probably just build a big tab on it just to bolt a ball in there. So like I said, once we get this on here, we'll have our supports that bolt all the way across here, and they will more than likely come down and into the hitch this way, down into the hitch this way. So if we're gaining somewhere, I'm going to pull this rod off, knock the bushings out of it so I don't melt them whenever I weld that, and make that thing solid. All right, things are starting to look like a trailer hitch of a different kind of style. So got everything welded up here. See, we got plenty of clearance all the way through here. We're going to break up between my fuel line and my drain, so I can drain right. If I have to run 91, I can drain that and get my E85 back in it. My hitch is going to sit there about like that. So we'll cut it off here, plate the back of this, and weld straight to that. And even with that little bit of an angle right there, man, I can bend my own hitch, come right off of it to about right here, and man, we've got the perfect little setup. So I'm real happy with that. I'm thinking I just had another brain fart, so what I may do, remove the license plate, build all the supports behind the license plate down to here, and then mount the plate on the front of that to where it still gets the light. So like anything else, this is a continuously growing thing. I may wake up 4 times in the middle of the night with another idea. You know how that goes. So I'm real happy with this so far. So lots of welding. Got the trailer hitch fitted kind of how I want. Went ahead and welded the tongue on. Took a roll bar tab, 3/16, already drilled for 1 3/4 pipe. Welded that to the hitch, and my tubing slides through that tab and is welded all the way around. So not going to go anywhere once again. So this part of it is pretty much done. Let it cool off, paint it, get some little black shiny on it or something, and then start working on my bumper brace. So gonna get that tomorrow. Wife's already calling for dinner, so time to go eat. Okay, Tuesday evening, we were working back on the hitch for the car. This is what we got so far. I went ahead and welded this all together. So this is a 3/16 roll bar tab. If you can see in there, it passes all the way through the back of that. So I'm going to try something a little different. The tail pan on this car is actually pretty beefy. It's double layered, spot welded all the way around. So I'm going to try something. I made a template, and I'm thinking about this. Behind the license plate, welded right to the top of this to control my lateral movement side to side. So this is already strong enough front to back. It's not going to go anywhere. This is going to keep it from back and forth, up and down, anything like that. I've been debating about doing this, and then also coming down from these 2 bolts down to this tab also, tying it together in 5 or 6 places. So I'm going to cut one of these out and see how I like it. Okay, I've got this pretty much laid out how I think it's going to go. So we need to drill 5 holes in this, and then see how they line up with this. Okay, got some holes drilled here. This is going through 2 pieces of sheet metal, so it's got pinch welds all the way around it. Pretty stout, so drilled the same holes in this. We are going to go right in there. Of course, my paint's still nice and sticky. Get in there. I might take some incentive. Got threads. I think that's it. All right. Now, I'll lower the car down a little bit more so I can get to it. That to there. See how the license plate clears. Nice. So now all I see is a tab down here. Clearances all look good. I think I'm gonna weld that. I like it. I do. Good. For a couple spot welds, put the car on the ground and see what it looks like. Okay. Kind of like it. Doesn't look too gaudy or nothing like that. It'll all be covered up with the license plate, and I think that will work just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and raise it back up. We'll weld this front and back, and I probably will put maybe a gusset or two right here just to kind of tie it in a little bit better, and get it all cleaned up, painted up, make it look like it's supposed to. Got this thing welded up, and I'm kind of happy with it. Got the plate bolted on, did that a little bit ago. Got this thing welded on, threw a couple heavy gussets in here. I've got nice clearance all the way around my gas tank. I can get to my drain valve, I can get to my fuel feed. I'm pretty happy with this. You know, you don't see a whole lot from behind, so it looks kind of cool. I haven't decided if I'm going to leave these tabs on here yet for chains, if I get small enough chains to fit in that. That's a 3/8 hole, so 3/8 chain hook ought to be fine. No, I just need to build my receiver, and all I got to do is get this thing on the ground, swing the trailer over here, and see what I need to do. All right, I couldn't handle it. I had to swing the trailer around, hook this thing up, and see what's going on here. I'm gonna have to either rebuild a new hitch or just put a little bit of heat in this one and level it out a little bit so that ball doesn't want to bind. But other than that, man, it's sitting nice behind the car. Just about 2 inches up, so that gave me a little bit of room. I'm gonna put some weight in it, but adjust that hitch, and I think we're about ready for a road trip. At least trip to town anyway. Do need to finish wiring the tail lights up and get a plug wired on the car. But man, it's gonna look pretty good on it. Yeah, let's see if I can back this thing out. And see how it pulls. I'll see you there. Alright everybody, test drive was a success. Happy with the trailer. It's riding really good, pulling really good, and put a few miles on it, but man, I couldn't be more happy with this. Looks good. I've got a few things still to do to the trailer with some reflective tape and some stuff like that, and the inside lights and all, but man, I'm happy with this. I'm ready for a road trip. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to go ahead and like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.